All right. Well, my name is Jerry White Jr. I'm your Spokane Riverkeeper. And I have been the Spokane Riverkeeper here in Spokane since 2014. The program is 10 years old. However, we are very newly independent as a nonprofit. We had been under the umbrella of the Center for Justice. So we're proudly independent now in Spokane, protecting the Spokane River and protecting the tributaries to the Spokane River from Coeur d'Alene all the way down the valley past Wellpennant to the Columbia River. We are really charged with protecting the entire watershed. So we do a lot of work in the Hangman or Latah Creek drainage, as well as the Little Spokane River drainage. Our work, it's very important. We really, at our base, are a communications organization in many ways, trying to highlight those ways in which the river needs protection, the ways in which we help to try to protect it, and highlight the work of others who are connected to the river. We want to highlight the connections of other communities to the river that have existed long before us. For example, the work of the 5 Upper Columbia tribes on the Columbia Plateau have been water keepers for millennia and continue to lead that effort in many, many ways, including the recovery of Chinook salmon to our drainages. So part of our job here at the Waterkeeper Alliance, or I should say the Spokane Riverkeeper, is to help those other efforts and to highlight those other efforts where that's appropriate. We are members of the Waterkeeper Alliance, which is a global waterkeeper effort. So there are waterkeepers in China, there are waterkeepers in India, there are waterkeepers in South America, and in fact, I have met and stood with Nabil Musa, the one Iraqi Tigris Riverkeeper, who is a very brave and passionate person. And we are proud to be in an organization with people across the globe representing many, many different cultures who value the Earth's waters and value the Earth's waterways for many unique reasons that are oftentimes unique to those cultures that the folks are operating in. One of the ways in which our work has intersected with the fig tree has been that not just events that we've had that we have really appreciated the communication around and been highlighted, but also the issues that have come up that oftentimes are very difficult to communicate. And the fig tree has helped us really project those issues out to the community and help the community understand why they are important. In particular, one aspect of the fig tree that is very important to me is it provides a voice that is very personal. So our personal stories as community leaders, as community members, and as community advocates always show up very prominently in the fig tree. This to me is incredibly important. And in fact, I have learned things about some of my own friends in this community that I didn't know by reading the fig tree. And I value that a great deal. It makes me feel more personally connected to the work of those other leaders in some ways that are very important. Oftentimes, the work that we do as water advocates revolves around law and policy. And in that law and policy, the personal side of these issues can get lost. And so, and I'm going to say not only the personal side, but the spiritual side can get lost. And for me, that is really a little bit sad. And that is a gift that the fig tree brings, is to continue to highlight that spiritual nature of environmental and justice and community advocacy. It's incredibly important. And I think as we move into the 21st century, you're only going to find that more important. Oftentimes in the boardrooms and the negotiating rooms that I work in, where we are working with law and policy, we are actually surrounded by people talking only about law, but it's really about how do we lend a voice to the river, and how do we give the fish, the wildlife, and all of those creatures that currently don't have a voice in our system a voice. So in a way, we turn everything on its head, and we ask the question, not just how the river is useful to us, but how our service is useful to the river. Oftentimes in advocacy work and environmental work that we do here at Spokane Riverkeeper, we are in the boardrooms and the negotiating rooms that are fairly dry and removed from the river. And they revolve around laws that are oriented around the utility that the river gives to people and communities. But they really don't speak to the utility we can give to the river, or the service that we can provide to the river. For me, it's very important to interact with a publication like the Fig Tree, because I feel like those who read the Fig Tree, those who use the Fig Tree, those who publish the Fig Tree understand when we can begin to turn this discussion on its head and ask ourselves, how are we of service to nature and to the river? And by extension to the communities around us, both human and non-human. That's extraordinarily valuable. We need to have that discussion, and we need to have that discussion intrude upon those negotiations in law and policy. For us at Spokane Riverkeeper, we are a presence on the river. We have 3 boats. We're on the river all the time. We're interacting with the river, and we're interacting, with the people along the river. And we're interacting, frankly, with all of the wildlife, whether they're blue herons or ospreys or fish, whitefish, red band trout. And we come to love the river. And that is one of the things we are very interested in carrying out into the wider world, is that passion and that love for the river. And the Fig Tree has very definitely helped us do that in a personal way. So we appreciate that exposure. We appreciate that opportunity to network. And we very much appreciate that the Fig Tree understands this larger perspective around the work, the environmental and justice work that we're doing. One of the themes that's very interesting about this event is beyond words, doing justice work. Very often, when our crew and myself are down on the river and we are out working, picking up litter, reporting pollution, interacting with the people who love the river, and we carry that passion back up into the community and project it out through publications like the Fig Tree, something happens that's more than just the words spoken. There's relational work that's happening that really is more than the sum of its parts. It's doing justice, and it really goes far beyond doing words. It's really about creating just and loving relationships with communities and with nature.